Hello and welcome back for part 2. Last video I explained why women communicate indirectly. If you haven't seen that, then go and watch it. It is good. Today I will explain the how. So how women communicate indirectly, how women subcommunicate. Last video I established that the men communicate directly to establish the truth, whilst the women communicate indirectly to manipulate the truth, to control the truth, to divert the truth. Subcommunication is a secret language developed by women in a world where men rule and the male gaze is king. In our world, we need the men to symbolize and represent masculine qualities and values, whilst we need the women to represent and symbolize feminine qualities and values. We need both man and woman to play their role in order to set the right examples for the younger generations. When this is not done, we run the risk of societal collapse. So it is the job of every boy and every girl to represent something, not for themselves, but for the greater good, for the family, for the community, for society, humanity. The man must represent strength, overcoming of pain and suffering, sacrifice, courage, bravery, resilience, wisdom, disciplines, and other masculine things. And a woman must represent beauty, preservation, moral superiority, inspiration, care, identity, motherhood, fertility, and other feminine things. If either does not represent what they are supposed to represent, then this runs the risk of creating nihilism within society, where a large section of the people do not believe in anything, do not stand for anything good, have no purpose in life, and do not seek the things that will give them meaning and fulfillment in life. They have given up, unable to find a why to their suffering, a why to do hard things, and a why to do good things. When people lose their why, it becomes a lot easier to want to kill themselves, and many people do. Those without a why who choose to not kill themselves live, but they have died a very long time ago. So the man is to represent something for the greater good, and the woman is to represent something for the greater good. However, in a world that has been created by the man, the woman is not who the man thinks she is. Secretly, she is nothing like the things she is to represent. Whilst the men have goals of the grandiose, like the greater good of his people, humanity, and his offspring, the woman simply wants to be free. She has her own ambitions, wants, desires, and curiosity. She hates being placed into a box and expected to serve, whether it is to serve others, men, the greater good. She does not care. The woman wants to serve herself. She is tied to her body without choice, tied to the family without choice, tied to community without choice, tied to the pill, the hospital, sanitary products, the police, the schools, the law, politics. She is tied to the man without choice. This is the tie she hates the most. She is tied to and dependent to everything around her without choice. Because of this, she is not tied to the greater good like a man is. A man is not tied to his body, so the man isn't tied to anything. The man needs to be tied to the greater good in order for the man to feel alive. This is the man's why. Without this tying to the greater good, the man has nothing. He cannot create life. He must find a why to his suffering, and it must be grandiose. This is why men are so in love with sacrifice and the greater good. If the man cannot find his why, he will have no meaning and fulfillment in life. He will be nihilistic. And when a man cannot escape his own nihilisms, it becomes very easy for him to take his own life. So the woman lives in a world where she cannot be free in. For the world to be good, she cannot be free. And in order for her to be free, the world cannot be good. So she has learned how to develop a secret language and a way of being. A language and a way that will allow her to be free, whilst also operating in a good world. Who she is nothing like what she is to represent. Because of this, who she truly is a secret. But this secret version of herself is severely underdeveloped. It has never been given space to grow, so it is dark. It is her dark side. This dark side of the woman has never been brought to the light. So it has been allowed to grow, shift, and form in the darkness with no guidance. It is monstrous, ugly, nonsensical, and devious, sometimes malevolent. It has never been challenged or corrected because it has never been exposed to others. It is above reproach and cannot be reasoned with, not with logic, science, God, or the truth. This underdeveloped true dark self has only two goals in life. Number one, to not be responsible or accountable for one's bad actions. And number two, for its existence to always remain a secret. So the woman communicates and operates in a way where she can control the truth. Her main goal is to create a life where she can get away with doing what she wants without being held accountable for it, responsible for it. Most people see the world through a black and white lens because most people lack nuance, and most women see the world through the black and white lens of good and evil. The woman believes herself to have suffered horribly due to the badness of others, so she is very aware of this distinction between good and evil, between good and bad. She sees herself as the victim of all the bad things that have been done to her. And because of all of this bad that she has experienced, she cannot see herself as bad. This is the morality of the slave. For example, when a slave is caught trying to steal food, the slave does not feel like he has done something bad. He may be upset that he has been caught, but the slave could never feel like he has truly done something bad because the slave is a slave and the slave is starving. The woman shares the same morality as the slave. She believes herself to be inferior to her masters who are strong and evil. So if her masters are strong and evil, then she must be weak and good. This is how the woman creates anti-morality, which is the opposite morality to the social norms and values of that time. Because she has experienced bad, she believes the world to be bad. She believes all others to be bad. Women have done this since the beginning of time, and this is why women have always been associated with chaos historically and cross-culturally. This anti-morality the woman has, coupled with her inability to see herself as somebody who can do wrong, bad, or evil, results in the woman's victimization of the self. So when you're dealing with a woman, you simply need to understand that she is operating from a place where she cannot see herself as a bad guy. She sees herself either as the protagonist, the main character, or the victim. In her psyche, in the inferiority complex that she lives within, she can't do bad because she is subjected to bad. All right. So if anything that she does against that system is good, is justice, just in the same ways as the slave would feel the exact same way, right? If the slave was able to steal that food, he will feel like justice has been served, right? And if the slave was to be punished for him stealing that food, he won't actually internalize it as him doing a bad thing. That slave will go on to try and do it again, guys. Do you understand? Okay? So, with women are masters of subversion. The woman has intentions and desires. She has things that she wants to achieve. She has outcomes that she wants. These outcomes are secrets because her true intentions and her true desires are a secret. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Honestly, the longest intro of all time. Let's actually get into how women will indirectly communicate with you, how they subcommunicate with you. So you need to understand that women operate in a three-tiered system, okay? It goes logic, emotionality, and then her authentic self, her true dark secret self. Her true dark secret self is protected by, as I said, the front line of her logic, right? The rear line of her emotionality. These two aspects, her logic and her emotionality, needs to be defeated before you could ever possibly think about meeting her in her darkest regions. If you look at my previous videos, I always talk about how you need to be able to meet women in the fantasy and seduce them out of it. That is the only way you can bring them to light. This is the only way you can bring them to life, is by meeting them in the darker regions of themselves, the fantasy. In the fantasy, the reason why you need to meet the woman in the fantasy is because in the fantasy, she marries who she is today, her underdeveloped true dark self. She marries that with who she wants to be, her idolized, ideal version of herself. And as a man, you need to play with her there, because you just need to play with her there, all right? You need to play your role, so you need to infiltrate into her dark sides, right? So that's why you need to play your role in the fantasy with the woman. You need to enter the fantasy with the woman, because in the woman's fantasy is where her true dark secret self is. So if you want to speak to that, if you want to seduce that, something I advise really strongly, guys, this is the process that you would have to go through. Okay, so the woman uses logic to defeat men at their own game. The woman is not a logical creature, and neither does she serve it. She does not serve logic like us men does. She isn't enslaved by the truth like us men are. Us men, we are enslaved by the truth, logic, science, God. We just are. Okay, and the woman isn't. The woman sees the truth as a malleable concept. The woman sees the truth as dangerous, as I explained in my last video. The truth is dangerous to the woman. So the woman's whole life is focused around manipulating, controlling, and diverting the truth. So she'll use her logic to defeat men at their own game. If she's able to defeat you with her logic, then her true dark secret self remains unseen. It remains anonymous. She can defeat you at your own game. And so any intelligent woman, any competitive woman, they will try to defeat you first using the same logic you're enslaved to. The women know you're enslaved to it. This is the reason why they subcommunicate. It is a massive power over us men. They know we are enslaved to the truth in a way that they are not. Okay, communicating with your words makes up 10% of communication. 90% of communication is actually done non-verbally, right? So in your body language, your non-verbal cues, and through your facial muscles, how your body moves, and through tonality, so cadence, your inflections, the pitch of your voice. So 90% of communication is subcommunication, and only 10% of communication is your words. It is masculine to communicate pretty much only with your words, right? Because that is authentic, it's honest, it's truthful. And it is feminine to communicate with everything other than your words. So how things are said, right? And the meanings, what's been implied, and the double meanings and the triple meanings. Okay, so women a very long time ago, they have identified that is the man's weakness. Like, we are literally dumb. Most of us can't even read body language or non-verbal cues. So this is why they've evolved to subcommunicate. And so anyway, if they can beat you with their words, and they're very good with their words, they're better than you, right? Because the woman is really deep into her semantics. So if she can beat you with her words, then her true, authentic, dark self it remains anonymous. However, if she can't beat you with logic, right, then she will resort down to her most powerful side, which is her emotionality. The woman uses logic, she weaponizes the truth and uses it against you. If you defeat her there, she will use her emotionality. She will weaponize her emotionality and use it against you. I would probably say only 20% of men are able to defeat women there as well. The woman's emotionality has been conditioned and indoctrinated to all men that they are to bend to the woman's emotionality, to be terrified of the woman's emotionality. A woman's emotionality has always resulted in consequences for a man. Ever since he was a little boy with his sister, cousins, mother, teachers, right? Most of his biggest punishments has come from a woman's emotionality, right? Like with my father, how I would get absolutely destroyed by my dad was if I upset my mum. Absolutely destroyed. It was taught to me from a very, very young age that the worst thing I could potentially do is upset my mum. Like, my dad was a chill guy until I even sighed or said anything. The worst thing I can ever tell my mum is to do is shut up. I will be destroyed, guys. Destroyed. Right? Every weapon. My dad moved like Batman. He will beat me with everything in his utility belt. Right? So the woman's emotionality, that's where she'll be fallacious. Okay, so this is where she's going to, you'll ask the woman, how come you're going out every weekend? Right, I'll give you an example. How come you're going out every weekend? You've got a boyfriend now. Is it necessary for you to go out every weekend? The woman might defeat you with logic. She might say to you, no, I go out to like have fun with my girls. I go out to like dance and listen to music. Like, that's why I go out. I don't go out for men. And maybe you will say, that's a silly reason to go out, because nightclubs are specifically where men go to sleep with women, and it's specifically where women go to sleep with men on one night stands. And what you're saying there would be the reason you would say, right? You would say that if you had nefarious planning. So if you was able to defeat her with a logic or use any other examples, remember, the woman has secret intentions and desires. Okay, so maybe the woman is telling you that she just wants to dance with her friends, but in reality, her true intentions, her true desires could be that she's seeking other men, right? So what she can't tell you maybe is that you are able to give her enough attention and validation. She can't say that to you, right? As I said, this is the reason why women are indirect communicators. So she will say to you that she's going out for another reason, when in reality she's going out to find other men to sleep with. The reason why the woman is a sub-communicator is because she can't say that to you, right? If she directly communicated that to you, she won't be able to get the thing that she wants, which is to have a boyfriend and to also deal with other new novel men, right? So she will divert the truth now, right? So she will say, stop being so insecure. I'm only going out to have a good time with my girls. The reason a woman will never make any actions, any big actions, without 2, 3 meanings or reasons behind it. This is how the woman establishes plausible deniability. Listen closely. This is how the woman establishes plausible deniability. She will never do anything without having 2, 3 reasons. She can say, this is why I done it. She might say, stop being insecure. I'm only spending time with my friends. Or she might say, stop being so controlling. This is how, remember what I said earlier, this is how she removes accountability and responsibility from herself and diverts it onto you. She is taking the accountability and responsibility away from herself. The main issue is that she's going out every weekend with her friends and she's single. But right there, underneath your nose, she will be able to divert, because you're coming close to exposing that truth, she will be able to divert the truth and put it onto you, right? So she will make you be accountable and responsible for what is happening here. She will say, don't be so insecure. So she will make it about you, right? Do you see that? This is how she's able to divert the truth. She'll make it about you. You're being insecure. There's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. It's you. You are being controlling. There's something wrong with you. You need to work on some things. As a matter of fact, when I come back tonight at 3:00, after from getting dicked down by some random fella that night, me and you're going to have a chat to talk about your insecurities. Okay, making a bit more sense now, yeah? So anyway, that's how the woman will defeat you with logic, okay? So we're still in the logic aspect. If you was able to combat all of this, and this is where the woman will be very fallacious. If you want to know how women communicate, type in fallacies. Literally, the woman uses every fallacy in the book. Okay, so Anyway, if you are able to destroy the logic tier, that front tier, as I said, it's just the front line. She just uses the logic to defeat you at your own game. Let's say you wasn't coming for any of those things and you defeated her to where she is now, because basically you're able to checkmate women. This is the reason why you need to sign up for my one-on-one coaching. Once you're able to understand how women subcommunicate, you can checkmate them at their own game. You can checkmate them at their own game. Right? Just the same way she checkmates you at your game using logic. Okay? So, if you're able to understand the subcommunications of women and you are able to defeat her in that logic game, then the next step will be her emotionality. Right? And then you'll have to defeat her there as well. And how you will defeat a woman there, as I keep saying in my work, is by being nonchalant. You need to be indifferent from a morally superior place. So you have to be masculine. You need to be indifferent to her bad behaviors. So you need to be indifferent to her in a masculine way, in a morally superior way. You have to be nonchalant to her. That's your defense mechanism. And that's also how you punish her. Like, your nonchalance is probably the worst form of punishment, that and indifference. You also need to be mysterious. So she can't feel like she has access to you or she fully understands you. You need to be unpredictable, so you can't fall into any routines and patterns. The woman feels empowered when she can get you into routines and patterns, and she simply will just never feel that type of confidence or ego validation or security if she is unable to get you into routines and patterns. And you need to be uncertain, and you should be uncertain, because as I said, and if you're not listening to what I've been saying this entire time, the woman is lying. She is indirectly communicating to you because she doesn't want you to know the truth. If she wanted you to know the truth, she would communicate directly to you. Her intentions, her desires, her fears are not the intentions, desires, and fears she tells you. So you should definitely not be certain about her. Don't be certain about her. She's trying to scam you. She's trying to make you sign up for something that is not within your best interest. Okay, so you should definitely not be certain about that or her until she is moving in a sincere, honest, direct way. So the only way the woman is able to manipulate you with her emotions is if you care a lot, is if you're invested a lot. This is the reason why women are so obsessed and fixated with you falling in love with them. They're so fixated and obsessed with you opening up to them, giving them emotional access to you. It's so they can expose you to their emotionality. When a woman can get you to fall in love with her, to get you to emotionally invest yourself into her, can get you to open up to her, it's very, very easy for her to be able to subcommunicate and indirectly communicate with you now. Now it becomes easy for her to play with you. Okay, so let me give you an example. It's masculine and it's honest, authentic and truthful to... When you communicate, an honest person communicates to let the other person know what they think and feel. Okay, so an honest person has the responsibility of passing on how he thinks and feels. Right? A dishonest person, a subcommunicator, somebody who communicates indirectly, they will leave the interpretation up for you. So they don't even have the responsibility of communication. They don't even have the responsibility of feeling like they need to let you know how they think or feel. They're going to say words and they're going to leave the interpretation up to you. So they're going to say words. And this is also the reason why women are purposely ambivalent. They are purposely ambivalent, right? So they purposely create confusion so you don't understand. They don't want you to know. And they also want you to interpret what they mean. If you don't really love a woman, if you're not really attracted to a woman, if you don't care about a woman, you will not bother yourself into trying to interpret what this person means. Do you get it? That's what I'm trying to explain. So the woman will make you fall in love with her, then she will create ambivalence. right? So you're confused and your brain is like, the insecurity within your own self will make you look into the things she's doing. And she's going to do things, as I said, double meanings, triple meanings. And she's going to leave the burden of interpretation onto you. So this is how, so when bad things happen, and they will, because she is premeditated in what she does. So, as I said, her intentions and her desires, you will consider it bad. So when bad things happen, and they will, she'll be able to go back to these points and say, no, I didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. That's not what I implied, right? And this is also the reason why women are able to remember exactly what you said 4 months ago, exactly what you did 7 years ago, because it's premeditated and it's calculated. She has protocols in place to excuse her of accountability and responsibility. And as I said, if you're a genius like me, then you can see how it happens in her communications. So make sure you're listening and support the channel. Sign up for the one-on-one coaching, because this is you're lucky. You're lucky you found this page and for me to break these things down to you, because I know this is resonating with you in a way that no one has been able to communicate these things to you before. Okay, so the woman, as I said, the true dark secret self, it just simply does not want to be accountable for anything. It simply doesn't want anyone to know that it exists, and it simply cannot see itself as bad. Okay, if you are a guy and you make yourself a boyfriend to a woman or a husband to a woman, she's going to see you as being in the way of her getting what she wants in life. Now, you might think to yourself, that's so stupid. Then why does she want to be with me? Because the woman is dependent without choice, guys. You don't understand. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You are an independent being, whether you know it or not. Your biology understands it. Your ancestors understand it. Maybe you don't, but your unconscious understands it. The woman is a dependent being, whether she knows it or not. Her biology understands it. Her ancestors understand it. Her unconscious understands it. She's dependent without choice. She's with you. She has to have a man. That's the truth of the matter. That's it. It's the truth. She has to have a man. She needs a man to procreate with. She needs a man for security. She needs a man to regulate her emotions correctly, to regulate her hormones correctly, to regulate her psychology correctly. She needs men. She's dependent on men, but she is. All right. So this is why you feel like your missus doesn't love you. She probably doesn't. She's dependent. Dependency can feel a lot like love, guys. If you don't understand, sign up for my one-on-one coaching. Most women don't love you. They depend on you. The only people who are able to love genuinely and sincerely are independent people who are able to have interdependent relationships, people who are able to give without receiving, people who are comfortable enough, abundant enough, and done enough work to be able to just give, because that's how they show they love you, and this is how they affirm life, right? Their own individual values. No codependent, dependent person would be able to love you. They're dependent on you, guys. They have no idea what love is. They have obsessions and fixations and addictions. It's not love. Okay, now, as I said in my previous videos, if you want to have love with your woman, you're going to have to teach her what love is and train her what love is, along with all the other masculine things you're going to have to do. Okay, so the woman doesn't even see herself as responsible. She doesn't take accountability and responsibility for communicating how she thinks and feels to others. She places that responsibility onto you. It wouldn't work if you're not in love with her. This is why I say nonchalant and indifference is so powerful to a woman, because she literally won't be able to get you to do what she wants you to do, because for obvious reasons, right? So everything she does is premeditated. It's calculated. She has protocol. She's not going to do any big actions without 2, 3, 4 different reasons as to why she could say she did it. Her life revolves around hiding and concealing the truth and her true intentions, so it's something that I call my work. It's called what did I call it? Off her scent, right? You know how women spray themselves with perfume? Well, it's not just to smell nice, it's also a biological, I'm joking, but the metaphor is that she's trying to shake you off her trail. So the reason why the woman is purposely paradoxical, the woman is happy to be paradoxical, to make no sense. She purposely creates ambivalence. She makes herself seem as confusing as possible, because if you are in a state of confusion, not only are you easy to influence and manipulate, not only is it going to increase your sexual attraction towards her, but also if you're in a state of confusion, then you're not on her trail. You're not on her scent. You can't investigate what she's doing because you're in a state of confusion that allows her to do whatever it is that she wants to do and can't tell you, and do it without you understanding that what she's doing. This is how the woman gets what she wants, guys. All right. The woman has evolved to manipulate people. You've evolved to manipulate the world. It's very different. So this is her job. Okay. Yeah, so the reason why, so the woman will be very vague and very ambiguous. Very vague and very ambiguous. I always tell you guys, you should definitely adopt it. I have learned my vague and ambiguousness. Actually, no, to be fair, I'm just a very vague and ambiguous guy. I am the most vague and ambiguous monster you've ever met in your entire life. Everything, my whole life revolves around maybes and we'll see. Maybes and we'll see. If you want to be good at seducing women, you need to learn how to be vague and ambiguous, and you need to learn how to leave interpretation down to them, just like what they do to you. Okay, stop being so direct. Being direct isn't sexy in any way, shape, or form. It's only direct. It's only sexy when you're trying to have sex or something like that, right? Or when it's masculine. That's the only time when it's masculine and it makes sense to be. But when you're dealing with women, you want to be like them. You want to be indirect, and you want to subcommunicate a lot. You want to be very vague and very ambiguous. You want to do all of the things that they do as well. Leave things down to interpretation for them. But, you guys, you are so uncomfortable with holding conflict and tension. You guys can't do stuff like that. You're not comfortable with tension and conflict. You're not comfortable with a woman's displeasure. You're not like me. A woman can cry in front of me for an hour straight. She can be convulsing on the floor, having a seizure because of how powerful she's crying, and I wouldn't feel anything. I wouldn't feel nothing. But anyway, that was some fun, guys. If you've gotten any value from that or from any of the previous videos I've done, make sure to like, make sure to hit subscribe, and make sure to support the channel. If you go into my bio, you can click the link. You can buy me a coffee, or you can send me any amount of money that you would like, or you can buy me multiple coffees totaling the amount that you would like to send me and stuff. Whatever you send will go straight into the channel, so I can post more, do more, improve the quality of everything. I've just started. I've been there for like 4 months. I'm not going to go anywhere, but if you would like to support me, send me some money or something, man. Send me some money. If you need some real life help, then sign up for the one-on-one coaching. It will be the best money you've ever spent, I think. Yeah, but I can go as far as saying this will be the best money you've ever spent. Yeah, easily. I mean, what else could you spend this amount of money on that will give you a better return? No, guys, I genuinely think this one-on-one coaching will be the best money you've ever spent in your entire life. Easily. If you like these videos and stuff like that, you will be super surprised with what I have in the coaching. Just bear in mind that I do not speak about the things in my coaching. This is all basic level things that I'm bringing out on YouTube. The rest of the stuff, it just wouldn't even get the engagement. That's how powerful and profound. Anyway, guys,